Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in, because we're going to take a close look at the Game Box 5, the 2.4 GHz wireless game controller pad. Nevertheless, it's going to be absolutely a fun video, because this is going to be one of those mini PlayStations that can play all kinds of games beside PlayStation 5, of course. So what we're having is a professional game chip. Oh man, I love these boxes. They are so weird with all kinds of weird shenanigans. It seems to be having two versions, one on the 28 and the 64. It comes with 3D games, oh yeah, and of course the original 3D rocker. That's such a lie, because there's nothing original about this. But let's take a close look inside the package, and what are we having with this weird thing? Take note, there are different versions, and I mean there are only with 8-bit, but also with all kinds of other cool things. So they also entered the USB drive. In here we're finding quite some interesting, some new configurations. So at the back we're having even a mini USB. Oh man, I haven't seen that thing for a long time. HDMI, we're having over here an SD card slot, and they're using the self-corrupting freaking SD cards. Yep, they are really bad. Underneath there are no rubbery feet whatsoever. The power switch is just switching it up and down, reset, and the first dongle already have been implemented. Two controllers, and let's talk about the controllers, because these things are most of the time really chemical and they feel really flimsy. Something already broke off. But they love to rip stuff, let's say from all kinds of products, and this thing looks kind of weird. At the bottom we're having the battery compartment from two AAA batteries, and on and off switch over here, and the form factor is maybe similar to in PlayStation 5 controllers, but the way how everything looks, look at the triggers. They're just like wiggly controller freaking triggers. L1, R1, other things. We do have rubberized joysticks, so they are not feeling that bad. We're having a home button, and they even try to mimic that microphone. There's actually nothing underneath. The D-pad feels really sturdy, to the point that it is not even comfortable, and ABXY, and they look absolutely horrible. There's even some differences between the size of them, and that makes it even more uncomfortable. There's no touchpad, only select and start with micro switches. Yeah, what can I say? It's a bad knockoff. I think the biggest letdown of today's is that we don't have a toilet paper manual explaining nothing at all. So there's also no power supply, so I need to grab myself, another one. Oh, we found it, mamma mia, we found the toilet paper manual. And this is for, I'm guessing, the warranty or the quality control, oh yeah, warranty card. Okay, it says over here when it was produced, okay, 2023. And then in here we're finding the toilet paper manual with all kind of plastic on it. Nope, not in English. So here I have it. It supports all kinds of emulators, including PlayStation Portable. Okay, that's going to be interesting. So one thing is for sure, that this thing looks kind of cute when it's just standing next to my television. But the question also remains, how will the overall emulation performance will be? Because we have seen a couple of these Game Box devices or PlayStation 5 minis, but some were pretty damn bad in my opinion. The menu itself looks kind of sleek and very basic. An overall interface that seems to be working just fine. But he also implemented everything they should know about the navigation through the menu. For example, how you go back or select and back, favorite, and where you can search. And when select the start, it will bring you back to the main menu. There is a lot of stuff that we can actually play, and I'm quite surprised by this. So we also have indeed, like the manual says, Sega Naomi, PlayStation Portable, and all kinds of other systems. I mainly want to focus on the, let's say, more demanding system just to see how it runs, but also slap some, let's say, 16-bit, 32-bit, and also some handhelds in this video to see if it's going to be working any good. Pressing select or start, see, it doesn't do anything, so I think it's running on some kind of emulate. But unfortunately, you're quite limited to, let's say, all the functionalities. If there is something wrong with the emulator, there is no way of messing it or actually like unmessing it and fixing the settings. But let's try this search function pressing Y, and it will take a couple of seconds to actually load anything, and that isn't quite an annoying thing. So let's press the S, and you can just see it takes forever to load up. It can also be the problem with an SD card because it's really slow, and they're just using unbranded and load cards. Okay, so let's go into the Sonic. Here we can just see pressing left, it will switch between the keyboard and the menu itself. But what's kind of cool that it will show where it's basically what kind of platform we're searching on. So this is the Mega Drive Japan. So the search function is not the best one. It's been, let's say, not the best looking one, but it seems to be working just fine. Okay, so let's boot up into some Sonic Advance of the GBA and just start with this. Another thing I wanted to showcase you is when you're pressing select and start, the thing that we've spoken of with the main menu. Here we can even implement cheats, making quick load and quick save, and just close content. But so far, I just can see there is no way of getting into RetroArch or mess around with it. But let's get into some gameplay. Okay, so what I find quite annoying about this menu situation, so we can just make a quick load, quick save, but what we can do is getting into the RetroArch, and we cannot go messing with, let's say, the banners or all the other things, and that is absolutely a bad situation. For the people who just want to have a plug-and-play situation, and maybe you're afraid of messing something up or putting something in that completely mess up the emulator itself, you don't need to be afraid because there is actually nothing to mess around here, or mess up at least. But so far, the emulation, all the sound effects are here, no the audio delay that we have seen before, everything seems to be running just pretty damn well. No screen tearing whatsoever. At the background it will run with RetroArch. Unfortunate, again, there is no way of switching out anything. They implemented widescreen, no aspect ratio, no banners whatsoever, or they even implemented this weird looking filter to give it a little bit of more smooth like look. But so far so good. No audio delay, so weird things going on. So also the Game Gear part seems to be running just fine. There we go. So time to move to the Mega Drive or the Sega Genesis. And also here we're having the same kind of filter going on. It looks a little bit more smoother. I understand they're doing this simply because when you're having this on a 55-inch television and you're having the original pixels, it's going to be looking pretty damn awful. But this is one of the solutions. Not a big fan of it. But also here we have no problems whatsoever. So far so good. But the reason I still wanted to test out a couple of systems I have seen before, that they completely messed it up in the past. Yeah, the unfortunate thing is, you also notice it with the Sega Game Gear. When it comes to these, let's say, handheld devices, they're normally being played on these old school tiny displays. Yeah, and this looks so freaking horrible. Full screen shenanigans with Game Boy games. They should stop doing this. It would be looking so much better with some bezels, or at least with two black bars at the left and the right side. But the overall performance of the emulation also here, I don't notice any weird things going on. Another system I'm really looking forward to check out on this is the Dreamcast. Yep, we have a PlayStation 5 Mini from China that can actually play Dreamcast, or how well will it run. I cannot show you the FPS because there is no way to actually enable this. So I'm just going to look at how the image will look, but also how the overall audio will sound. Okay, so we're starting off that the analog stick hasn't been configured. Oh boy. That is an issue. Analog stick D-pad doesn't... See, that's one of the things that I was afraid of. Yeah, and this is the problem. There is no way of switching between, let's say, the controls. We're just stuck with this. So let's try a different game, but I'm afraid it's not going to be doing any good. And that's quite a bummer, because it seems to be that the overall emulation performance is not bad at all. Okay, so it seems to be that the D-pad but also the analog stick seems to be working with the Soul Calibur game. So it's actually an issue when it comes to this Sonic Adventure 2. Okay, so let's get into gameplay. Okay. Yeah, this is absolutely a problem in the emulator. And again, we cannot change it out. So let's get into the gameplay. How will it look? How will it play? Oh, man. That is such an annoying thing. Oh, stop glitching. But you can also hear with the audio that this is not the way how it should be played. Ooh, almost got him. Get out of the ring. Get out the ring. But in the end, this is what you're having when it comes to Sega Dreamcast. In my opinion, they completely mess it up. And again, there was no way of getting into the system, so there was nothing to do about this. Nothing at all. But let's take a close look at the Sega Naomi system, just to see how we're going to have better performance over here. The chance is quite slim, but still, take consideration also when it comes to different kind of games, it's going to be in hit or miss. With some 3D games have issues, but with the other ones, like the two-dimensional games like this particular one, can have like overall good performance. One of the things I want to check out if we do having some overall glitches, at the same time we can check out the D-pad of the freaking controller. Yeah, that's absolutely awful, like I already expected, but the emulation performance is quite nice. I can already hear from the beginning that is not going to be an overall good performance. It stutters. Dolphin Blue is one of my favorite games to play, by the way, of the Atomic Swiss system, but also a great way to like overall check out the performance. And yep, you can just play this further, but it doesn't matter. It runs absolutely garbage. Okay, I want to move on to the Nintendo 64 part. And 64 is going to be the same shenanigans like the PlayStation Portable and Dreamcast. But I just wanted to check out the game Cruise in the World that is normally running okay on most of the emulators and low power devices. And indeed it runs pretty damn well. I find it pretty damn cool to see this game actually running. Take consideration it's going to be the same situation, GoldenEye and and Conker's Bad Fur Day. The games that are like a little bit more demanding will not run perfectly on this. So it's going to be absolutely one huge gamble. I want to check out the PlayStation 1. These devices can run it just fine. But there is no background music going on. And that is one of those things they completely remove. And you just want to save up some space. Because some of the games are having like 600 megabytes. And most of them are going to be audio. For the overall performance itself, it's pretty great. But take consideration if you're looking into some arcade stuff, there's a lot of stuff you can actually play on this. But if you want to get into Tekken Maim or Killer Instinct, that will not run at all here. But so far the overall performance is quite nice. I did hear some crackling noise in the audio. That can be a problem of the emulator or the supported files in here. But the overall, I say, experience is pretty damn cool. And we can play like absolutely like hundreds of thousands supported games on this device. That's absolutely crazy if you think about it. But there's one particular thing I wanted to show you. I wanted to close with the PC Engine emulation performance. And what's a little bit of an annoying thing with these devices, take note, there is no way of changing out emulators or anything on the background. But unfortunate, with PC Engine it's a great example that it doesn't boot up. And those errors can be found in sometimes these game boxes. And in the end, there is nothing we can do about it. Okay, so we know everything about the emulation performance and how the system works. Let's rip it apart. And just see what we're having in the inside, because I'm really curious. I did notice something of EmuElec, that is what it's running on. So, and this is just the thing that we're finding in the inside. It's just this tiny PCB. And it's been running for a couple of hours now in this video. And it's getting really hot. So let's remove the 4 screws. And let's see, is this a purely like a new made device? It looks like it. And I find it always quite interesting to see how they're creating these devices. I must say that they're also having cheaper options. We have already reviewed a couple of 8-bit clones, but now we're having a device that can actually play a lot of different stuff, even it's going to be booting up. I think that is one of those already like some major issues we're finding, and I wish they just open it up or with a special code, so if any issues we can just fix it ourselves. Let's see, I removed all of the screws. Can I just rip it out? Or there we go, the other shell can be removed. We don't need to forget the SD card. And then we can just remove this part and the switch, do no need to forget to put it back in. Okay, so this thing runs on the AM Logic S905L quad core. And I think it was in my previous videos, I already talked about the GPU. There was an MP450. And that's actually what we're having. Yeah, so it's nothing special. It's the same kind of, let's say, specification we have got in the first generation of Super Console Lexus. The downside to this particular thing is that we don't have any option to tweak. Maybe we can just get a different SD card, load a firmware for the S905L and just rebuild it if we want. Yeah, another thing is a big of an issue. There is no active cooling or there is no passive cooling. So this chip is getting quite hot. And if this is going to be good for, let's say, the overall quality of the life of this thing, yeah, I think you know the answer. The PlayStation 5 Mini from AliExpress, or also known as the Gamebox 5, is a device that comes with okay controllers. There's no really input delay, but when you're looking at the menu, it's locked out. I think this is dedicated to the people who don't want to tinker. That is not a big problem, but fix everything. There are no screenshots, there are no movies, there is a lot of stuff going on that is wrong with this product. And even like having problems with glitches, game don't boot up, or controls are not configured at all like with Sonic Adventure 2. I thank you all for watching, consider subscribing, hit the little bell, and it will be great to see you in the next video. Hoping it's going to be any better with this, because these things piss me off!